Thanks for joining us this Thursday evening. I'm Brian Patrick. The U.S. fertility rate falls to its lowest point on record, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. In the first quarter of this year, there were just under 60 babies born for every 1,000 women ages 15 to 44. That's roughly half the recorded rate at the peak of the 1950s baby boom. Population Research Institute President Stephen Mosher and Jeanne Mancini, President of the March for Life, are with us tonight. Stephen, what do you see is behind this trend?
Well, I think it's primarily due to the Great Recession that we've been in for the last 8 years. It has cost us, by the way, about 3 million births. Children who were not conceived and, of course, were not born because their parents were worried about their finances, about their future. 25% of young couples who are married are postponing having children right now because they don't feel they can afford them. And another 20% of young people are not getting married at all because, again, they feel financially unable to do so. They're not able to get a good job. They're living at home with their parents. And what we're seeing is a reprise of the Great Depression. What happened during the Great Depression was a quarter of women did not ever have children. They married late in life and remained childless.
I was a baby boomer, one of 10. Does our society, our culture today, Jeanne, discourage women from having children?
You know, I think that there are some really confusing messages to women, and especially with regard to children. There's this idea that a child is a commodity, and, you know, we see delaying childhood, plan exactly when it's going to happen, and when it doesn't work out exactly as you wanted, then use in vitro or use different, mechanisms because it's more of a commodity than a gift. There's this terrible thing happening right now called shout your abortion. And it's horrific, and it's this idea if it doesn't fit with the plans, then go ahead and get an abortion, and let's try to destigmatize, this terrible, awful thing. In fact, we just saw Cecile Richards, the president of Planned Parenthood, come out and explained in her sort of shout your abortion story that they decided 3 was enough, so they terminated number 4. The truth is that every life is a gift, and it's a miracle, and we have to see life as a gift. It's not a commodity. It's not something to be manipulated, so to speak. It's a gift.
And there's a very practical side. Stephen, you have researched China's population control extensively. What happens when the population growth of a nation continually declines?
Well, I think you can see something of a death spiral developing, right? The birth rate goes down. In China's case, it was forced down. And then you see economic growth slowing. And as a result of slower economic growth, you see the birth rate going down ever further. So it's kind of puts you into a death spiral. Right now, China is losing part of its workforce each year. They have 4 million fewer workers in the workforce this year than they had last year. The labor pool is going to be shrinking from now on. Now in China, what they have done is they moved from a one-child policy to a two-child policy. And if that doesn't boost the birth rate enough so they get enough workers, they will force women to conceive and bear children, I have no doubt. In the U.S., we have young women who want to have, on average, 2.5 children. We just have to make it possible for them to marry, find a life partner, and encourage that natural impulse to be generous in welcoming children from God.
Stephen Mosher with the Population Research Institute, Jeanne Mancini, Right to Life or March for Life. Thank you both for being with us.
Thanks for having us.